Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fire Emblem Warriors DLC Character Showcase, and this time we're going to be looking at Linde. Linde is one of the three characters that actually has a unique moveset. She's the only one out of them, but she combines the best of the best in terms of the tome users. In comparison to Robin, Leo, and Elise, she takes whatever makes them so special and then builds upon it, and that's why, in my mind, she is the best out of all the tome users in the entire roster. So, the first thing we want to look at is her stat spread. The thing about this is you can pretty much already see what it's all about. Just like with the other DLC characters like Minerva and Navarre, which we'll be looking at in the near future, her stats are optimized to have the best offensive prowess available. In this case, it's going to be super high magic, amazing luck, and a great skill stats. But you can also see that she has low defense. This means that she is essentially a glass cannon. That being said, you can upend that with her high luck stat. You can give her Pavis or Aegis from either Frederick or Xander respectively, and that will help things out. We're also going to be going for like full damage this time around. We're going to be using the new Lone Wolf skill, which means she will have extra damage when she's by herself. This means that we won't have the benefits of a Draco Shield, Solidarity, or even just a quick guard, so this will be really exciting. Now, the skill spread is going to be more or less what we've been used to seeing lately here on the channel. We're going to be having Astra, Luna, Luck plus 20, and Lethality. Because she has such an absurdly high luck stat, this is really going to work in her favor, and her critical strikes are going to be phenomenal. And in addition to the Lone Wolf skill, we're going to be using her own unique skill crest. This is going to be Quick Wit, and Quick Wit is quite nice because whenever you do a critical strike, you gain Awakening Gauge, and that's going to be very helpful for her to fulfill her destiny as a very powerful nuking unit. Now, one other thing I want to mention is her weapon. Just like with all the tome users in this game, there is actually no quote-unquote mandatory weapon attribute to give to them. That being said though, I feel that a good baseline to start off with will be Rainstorm. For obvious reasons, you want to have as much damage as possible from your regular attacks, as well as Armor Strike. Armor Strike will be very useful just due to the fact that she has really high luck. You're going to be fishing for those critical strikes often, especially due to the fact that as a tome user, she has a gimmick that lets you expose gold gauges no matter what your alignments on the combat triangle is. That being said, Armor Strike works really nicely, but it being the double-edged sword that it is, she'll also reduce her defense and resistance, and her defense wasn't that high to begin with, so if you get hit a second or third time, you might end up dying, especially on these high-level challenges that the DLC has given us. Otherwise though, like the remaining 4 slots, feel free to put whatever works for you. I'm going to be running a Draco Slayer, although I am looking forward to getting a Wing Slayer, because I know that a lot of winged units have high resistance to magic. Strong 5 and Strong 6 are the most commonly used combos, although we're not really using them for damage, we're more using them for building up her gauge, which is the focal point of her playstyle. But yeah, I think that basically about does it. Feel free to put on whatever Slayer attributes you can. I believe the Anti-Air Focus might be a good option on her too, because her combo 6 actually suspends enemies in the air, and I believe if you can facilitate it properly, combo 5 does the exact same thing. So yeah, that basically about does it. Before we continue things along, I just want to mention more about the Quick Wit skill that she has. The thing about that one is that it's very useful on units like Tiki. Tiki has like sort of a need to build up Awakening Gauge as quickly as possible, and Quick Wit certainly helps with that. That being said though, while it is possible to gain Awakening Gauge during the Awakening mode, you're not going to gain enough to completely keep yourself in there indefinitely, so yeah, just keep that in mind. Think of it as just something that you're constantly popping in and out, and you're going to be okay. So, we are playing on the level 102 map, which is the one that you need to do if you want to get the Aura Opus for Linde's unique weapon. It's very dangerous because if I get hit once, I'm going to lose my armor, lose my defenses, demonetize the video, but if I get hit a second and third time, I will most likely die. Many many times before in my attempts of recording this video. I've actually had that happen to me many times. However, Linde has all the tools that she needs to play safely. Like, she has easy access to Awakening mode, she has plenty of long-ranged abilities, as well as AoE attacks. If you still need more defense, remember, this is technically supposed to be a glass cannon build, feel free to also add Armored Blow from Tiki, and that'll definitely help. Otherwise, though, the playstyle of Linde is more or less the same as Robin, with the main exception just being, just like the fact that she just does more damage. The exact same thing, but more damage. That's what Linde is. Also, when it comes to long range, keep in mind that if you do your gold gauge stun attacks, and then you line it up properly, you will be able to nail people from a distance with the final blow of the critical strike. That's very, very useful, and if you have any Slayer attribute on your weapon, then that's going to be instant kill for most of them. It's very, very potent. But otherwise, yeah, just go into the middle of a giant group. Very easy to build any of this stuff. Remember, like, she has long range, just like with her gimmick, long range at the end. And she builds her warrior gauge really quickly as well, so don't be afraid to use that or press that as sort of your panic button. But yeah, like, she has every tool that she needs to survive, it's just that you need to use them smartly. Actually, not even that smartly either. Like, just like with any Warriors game, you can literally just get away with just kind of charging in. But the problem, though, is that, especially in these later maps, you'll actually find that some of these AIs for the enemy might act a little bit unpredictably. When that happens, though, it just becomes a matter of, like, knowing what range is safe to stay in, or just chickening out altogether and then using this from a safe range. Like so. Alrighty. So again, just kind of get into the middle of everything. Be very mindful, especially of Manakets. They have that really long range attack that hits you from like across the map with their Dragon Breath, so be very, very careful about that one. Also, how many more KOs do we need to get? We need to get 685 more if we want to get ourselves into the S rank, and oh, we're going for that S rank. What else can I really say about Linde? She's just a very powerful unit overall. Like, I would liken her to sort of like being the Ryoma of tome users. Okay, I see Tiki doing some scary stuff. We get ourselves a yellow gauge. And actually, we don't even have to worry about breaking the gauge because I have a Draco Slayer. The funny thing is, too, even though I have the Opus version of this weapon, even with lower damage, you can still pull off some pretty impressive numbers just due to the fact that you can use the Golden Gauge, then cancel that into like an Awakening mode or into a Warrior Special. She has no shortage of offensive options, really. As long as you're not, you know, like, trying to attack them with your face, you're going to be fine. Also, you guys are probably wondering right now, but earlier today, I actually made a video for Linde. It's just that the processing messed up, and unfortunately the video quality wasn't that great. And, I like to try to hold myself to a certain standard for you guys, so this is going to be a bit of a double dip. That's fine, though. Like, I enjoy playing Linde. I mentioned in that video, this particular fight was actually kind of hard when I started out. It takes a bit of practice because there's so much risk to Linde, but the reward is quite high too. I mean, we're getting through this map with no problem. Like, this is like one of the highest level difficulty maps in the entire game, and yet we're going through them like nothing. Even this guy, like, this is supposed to be resistant to me, but we're just kind of making mincemeat out of him. Once she stops guarding anyway. Here we go. How many more? Okay, 92 more, and then we should be in the clear. It's really the final stage that really scares me, because Sita has relatively high resistance, and she's quite bulky overall, so it could be a little bit dangerous, and she hits me more than enough times, then I will actually die. Many of my previous attempts at doing this video that you're watching right now have resulted in me seeing Linde's underwear due to the armor strike, and with less armor than she already has, it's, ironically, it's not a very pretty sight. It results in a lot of dying. That means stopping the recording and then starting again. It's quite exciting, actually. It's very exciting to see that at any given moment I could just suddenly lose it all in the field of battle. Okay, so do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and conserve my... I'm going to go ahead and conserve my gimmick. Conserve my gimmick for a little bit longer, and then use the Awakening Gauge to break this one. So doing a combo 5 should be enough. Oh no, didn't get the yellow gauge. Here we go. Okay, so the nice thing about that is that there's a little bit of pause. This should give me some, yeah, should give me some more extensions. Just kind of working a way through. And then now, I'm going to attack Sita enough times to expose the yellow gauge. I don't think, yeah, for whatever reason I mistimed it. I think I accidentally thumbed the dodge button instead of the special button. But this should be more than enough to kill. Someone that has such high resistance. Oh, never mind. Spoke too soon. Alright, and we get to see some unarmored Sita. So tag her a couple of times and then cancel straight into the warrior gauge. You gotta be really quick where Sita's concerned because she can jump out of it, especially at this difficulty. Alright, and we can get ourselves another one. Like, really, any enemy with high... Like, enemy with really high resistance would be able to take about 2 critical strikes from Linde. Everyone else is as good as dead. She is an extremely powerful unit, and honestly, like, such a fun unit too. I said earlier, kind of like the Ryoma of your tome users, extremely high damage potential for single targets, but the difference is she also has immense AoE potential. Really good stuff overall, a very powerful all-around unit, and one of the few true glass cannons that exist out there. So if you guys like tome users, or you guys are big fans of Linde, then you guys are very lucky. So yeah, this one was really tough. I died several times in the attempts before the previous video, and honestly, just a really fun character. I can't stress that enough. For those of you guys that were disappointed that most of the characters were cloned, like 2 out of the 3 new characters were clones, there's still quite a bit of content in addition to that. Not to mention that the clones that we did get were like more optimized versions of movesets that we already really liked. There's no real reason to not use them, and if you don't want to use them, you don't have to, but it's just really good stuff, and very much so worth the price of admission, even for Linde alone. Such a fun unit. Then there's also the 5 costumes that you get, 3 maps, just very nice overall, and I cannot wait to get into more in depth with content that was also introduced in the DLC. There's so much stuff left to cover. There's going to be Navarre coming soon. Navarre's a lot of fun, by the way. I just want to give you guys a little bit of a hint. As well, new attributes, which I cannot wait to provide like their own special undivided attention. So guys, thanks very much for joining me on the Linde character showcase, and as usual, I'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone.